I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. And for years, Trumpers, during Obama and Biden, you guys claimed America like you were cowboys or had stormed the beach at Normandy. You screamed that Obama, the constitutional law attorney, was violating the Constitution. You claimed to be patriots constantly, and you bitched about executive orders or Benghazi, where 4 Americans died in a terrorist attack. But then you mocked a president who shed tears after 22 little kids died at Sandy Hook. You called those kids' parents crisis actors while they grieved for their children. And when 600 were shot in Vegas and 58 were killed, you just pounded out excuses why we need more guns. Our country's about freedom of religion, yet you wanted to ban Muslims. You know, that's a religion, right? You hold up the flag like it's a deity, but you wear it as a shirt or size 48 cargo shorts so your armpit sweat and ball cheese desecrate it. And you know, we are all watching the unraveling of this wild experiment called America. And Trump has cheated, lied, stolen, and he does it daily. He's gotten people killed. Pulling the troops out of Syria got Kurds, our allies, slaughtered. The Russian army has taken over a base that we built, and you don't care. You know, from day one with that crazy-ass Edgar Allan Poe inaugural speech.
Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape.
To lying about the crowd size. You know, the dude has lied 22,000 times. Your leader. He's lied about the wall, taxes, infrastructure, job numbers, Epstein, Cohen, Parnas. So many people have come forward and told you who this failure really is. But you just shrug it off. He's killed our free press, at least to you he has. And you think you're American? Seriously? The same people you believed about Obama and Biden or Nixon whenever they fucked up, now you call them fake news. Fake news about a 7-time bankrupt, multiple business failure who paid off a porn star who he raw-dogged while his illegal immigrant wife was at home raising their newborn. You claim to follow Christ? Trump was sued for raping a 13-year-old. Case got dropped 16 days before the election. Wonder what that check looked like. Russian bounties on our troops, and you still have his back. You think you're patriots? Really? You make me gag. 200,000 of your countrymen are dead because he wouldn't do anything. And Dr. Fauci, a man that was instrumental in the stopping of AIDS, gets death threats for telling the truth? You pick a man who can't read over a genius virologist. Wow! And you like him because, as many of you say, he's like me. Is he? A man who was handed $400 million when daddy died? That sound like you? He's like you in some ways. He's not smart. He's out of shape. He doesn't give a shit about anyone but himself, like you. But that's not us here in America at all. You know, the greatest generation worked together to beat Germany and Japan and all who tried to roll over and kill democracy and freedom. We were liberators of concentration camps. And now guess what? On our borders, we have concentration camps. And you're fine with it. Obedient cult members with nothing to show why you believe in him. Why you're okay with this racism, misogyny, lying, incompetence, and destroying an economy that Obama and Biden built back after W's and Cheney's destruction of it. No evidence of his success, unless you own stock in coffins and eviction notices. And you give me reasons all the time why it's okay for our black brothers and sisters to be shot by some asshole teenager wilding with an AR-15. You back him up while a man gets shot 7 times in front of his 3 kids. He had a knife. Bullshit. Or a woman, a nurse, just sleeping. Cops bust in, kill her. She have a knife? You know, it's against everything this country stands for. It's unbelievable. It's unconscionable. It's ungodly. And like you, Trump supporters, un-American. You're okay with him breaking the post office so he can win an election? Filling his pockets with your tax dollars? Saying he'd date his daughter? Why? Is it because you want to date yours? His buddies have been convicted of felonies. He pardons them. You paid for that trial. You paid the cops that arrested him. You paid the investigators, our taxes. You paid the judge, and he let him go. Our rule of law is just a history lesson. You're not American. You don't give a fuck about America. And you're ready to go into the street and shoot pepper spray and run over your countrymen. People who are protesting injustice for this asshole? A man that let 200,000 people die wants you to inject disinfectant and thinks that because he can remember
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. If you get it in order, you get extra points.
he's a genius. Well, do me a favor, okay? Because I love this country. What it stands for, the free speech that it affords me, the opportunity it presents, the freedom it provides. I've only done well because of the promise that is America. And you say you're Americans, but you just live here. You don't cherish it. And you know what else? You sold out cheap to a bankrupt used car salesman who smiles and says, "You're getting the best deal." But the car breaks down on the way home, blows the rod through the block. Call yourselves what you like. Trumpers, maggots, deplorables. I don't give a shit. But never call yourselves Americans. You don't know what the word means. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. How are you guys doing? The Armageddon Update today was about why I don't think people that follow our president is not an American, are not Americans. So, yeah, send those letters, misspelled letters, to ChristopherTitus.com, and we will look at them. With me today, Bombshell is with Grandma. So today we have the amazing, the funny, the hilarious Mr. Ron Funches, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
And also the Hylinder.
There could be only one.
There can be only one. Dude, I have to say, I'm so glad you did this. I know it was last minute. We're doing your show on Saturday, so we needed to whore. I want to whore some more.
Yeah, please.
Because we're worldwide. Combustion Live, we're hunkered in the bunker and worldwide. Sorry about the, that's from the show we did last week. It was Stacy Keach's prop. Has nothing to do with, we have a blow-up doll on the set. Nothing.
She's going to help us whore it out.
Come on, man. But I have a question for you, man. You're a bit of an enigma to me. And I said enigma. I know it's the E word.
Okay,
I want to use the E
classic.
word. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It does make me, as a white man, as white as I am, it makes me nervous to say. You have this. I listened to your comment. I was driving somewhere, and I was listening to your stand-up, and you're like this teddy bear. And then there was like 5 jokes that came out. I was like it was about white people, and I was like, oh, you do have, but you have a subversive way in to. So I like it, man. When did you come up with that? Has it always been like that, or were you the nice guy and then became that guy?
I mean, it's kind of natural in the way that I'd have to live my life. It kind of came from, like, my mom was a pretty strict disciplinarian, and so if I was going to try to make fun of her or make fun of something without getting hit, I had to be very slick about it, you know. And so there's this level of me trying to disarm you by I just think, like anyone, like, I think it's really cool. I love when a comic starts off with a strong statement, but I see so many people start off and it's like they don't introduce themselves. You know, they just get right into, like, this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
Trust
me first.
Yeah, and exactly. And I feel like you gotta, hi, I'm Ron, this is what I like, this is my friend, and then I come in and I hit you with everything. But it's after I've introduced, after you let me into your home, I've taken my shoes off,
right.
We're walking around, we're friends now, and then I hit you in the head with a tire iron.
I always start. I like to walk on stage and start with a statement that people go, "What?" and then do that, and then come back to it. I start with it, but it was subversive in a good way, such a good way, man. And we have you this Saturday at the Combustion Lounge, going to do your new show, Awakenings.
Yeah.
I don't have a positive spin on the current state of the world. You seem to. You say it like it's easy. It's not easy.
It's not hard.
How is it? How is it easy?
How is it easier for me than you?
By the way, that's a valid point. That's an extremely well. Yeah, that's a yeah. True. I don't have any. I got. Thanks for tuning in to the Titus Podcast. I'm mildly uncomfortable at this point. Yeah,
I'm gonna shovel these papers right here.
DL and stuff. I know DL and stuff, and I don't understand. I tell you what. I've known so many black comics and toured with them for so long, and whenever my white friends would go, "Oh, come, there's no racism," I go, "Oh, stop." Every black comic I would tour with has a story about getting yanked out of a car and bounced off the hood by a cop. And no white comic, Larry the Cable Guy, doesn't have that fucking story. So I got it in that way a long time ago. I didn't get systemic racism until I have friends. I have some of my best friends are black, and that's legit. That's legit. And one of them started this thing called the Battle of the Badges, which is a blood drive. The other one is he runs the Air Resource Board for California. He's the lawyer. He took down Exxon, and they're just badasses. And they were sitting around one day talking, and they were telling stories about the first time someone called them an N-word. We ended up shooting a video about it, a thing about it, and I remember thinking I had no concept. It starts, okay, all right, let's just do it because it's going on in the world. How early was it before you realized, oh, wow, I'm something different? Or people think of me as something different?
Racially wise?
Yep.
I mean, it was, to me,
womb came out. Doctor was like, oh man.
But I think one of the earliest lessons was like when I went to my school. Like my elementary school was a Catholic school in the south side of Chicago, and all of the teachers were black, and all the 99% of the students were black, but the principal, the vice principal, and the head nun were all white. And so from like an early age, it kind of ingrained into this thing of me like, that's weird. Like we can be the full student body, we can be the teachers, right? But when it's time to put someone in charge, they outsource it to some white people that they ship in from another part of the city.
So how do black people not just kill us all? How? I'm serious. At one point, how do we? They don't even care. They're like, it doesn't matter that you didn't do anything, dude. How does that happen?
It's something. No, it doesn't, because that's actually a cool thing to talk about. I think that's a fear that a lot of white people have, and a lot of older white people have, who are afraid of like Black Lives Matter and things like that. They have this fear that it's like some type of revenge that's going to lead to some revenge fantasy.
Is that possible though?
I don't believe so.
No,
it's not. The world's not set up that way.
I'm just saying we deserve it. Yeah, I'm not saying.
Well, of course.
I know. I'm dead serious. At one point, you go, "Have you read the history books? Because there's some shit in there that we."
But I think one of the coolest things that people overlook is just the level of forgiveness, the level of that the black community has in general. No other group of people has been asked to share the same space with the people that oppressed them, the people that enslaved them. If you were set free, you usually are able to move across the sea to other countries to set up your own lands. This was the only situation where it was like, our bad, could you please not get mad, and a lot of that is in put through religion, and like there's a reason why a lot of like the majority of the black population is either Christian or Catholic, is because they're taught not that your reward is after death. Don't get revenge, don't do the things. Those are things that were ingrained in us very early, so it's a bit like brainwashing, but also
what's great,
we're just very forgiving.
And you've thought about revenge, though. I hear it, and I hear it, and I hear it. You've thought he said revenge like 3 times in that last sentence. He's like, yeah, no, thought a couple times thought about it.
My way
but religion, Jesus is helping us, and keeping it. Because I like talking about it's funny because at one point I had to apologize after this thing hit with George Floyd. I got really I had a moment of awareness in a way that I'd never had it before. And it actually helped in other parts of my life, because I really got that every day a black person walks out in the world, they walked into the world not like, I'm going to do this. They're like, all right, fuck, am I going to get shot today? Am I going to get arrested today? Who's going to fuck with me? Who's going to treat me like shit at a store? And that's every day. And what happens is systemic racism is a constant, even for white people, same thing. You've got older people talking shit, and as you grow up with it, it becomes, you just think that's the way it is. And here's where it helped me. So I got it on a level I'd never got it before, and I started having really uncomfortable conversation with my black friends, like, hey man, I just want you to know how I got this. And they're like, you can see them like, here we go. But it also related to my divorce, because my daughter and my son had been getting like this systemic hate for dad through my wife. And I really got that. I'm like,
brainwashed, right?
Brainwashed. And I told my kids, I'm like, you guys realize that? And I said, I compared it to systemic racism. I go, for 20 years, your mom has said shit about me now, that you guys it's just in there. You can't even stop it. So So I got it on a whole level. And so what do you think's going to happen with what's going on now? I'm serious, man, because shit's burning down.
Yeah, but I mean, I liked what you're talking about, because that was one of the reasons why I named the show Awakening, is that because there are people like you, people who I never thought would come to me and be like, oh, I just learned about Juneteenth. I just learned about this. I just learned about that.
Right.
And I see, and that's why I can say there's so many positives, because one of the things that there's always been this systemic racism, there's always been oppression, and one of the things they used to be really good at is at least hiding it a little bit, or if there was a cop murder, they go like, oh my god, there was a miscarriage of justice, we'll never let this happen again. But how now, since we have such a person who is a complete out and out, just like, I can't hide who I am,
flat out,
they're just like, he's just like, well, fuck it, that's what it is. Fuck it, fuck you guys. And now it's forcing people to look at themselves, because they go, oh, do I follow this? Do I go like this? Like, one of the,
some of them have jumped on the boat.
Completely.
Some of them like, hey, we got a guy.
Yes.
We got a football. We got a quarterback. That's what racists got a quarterback.
But it's good for them to at least be identified.
That
we know who they are. And that if you are a complete out and out Trump supporter, then we know who you are.
Right.
We know what you stand for, and we know what you believe in.
There's no confusion. That's a valid point. As
before, you could just, I know several guys, like, when I was married before, very young, my wife's dad was a Republican, but like, I didn't hate him. I wasn't like, oh, you're racist. It was just like, oh, you don't believe in abortion for some reason, and you don't do this, and we're just different, and that's okay. Like, there's completely fine to be Republican, Democrat, whatever you want to be, but that's not what this is.
No, it's not. I think that's what some people don't get. I got relatives in my family. We started getting a yelling fight. We went on vacation, and Rachel probably won't. Bombshell probably won't talk about it, but my uncle, who's a Navy guy, and we started getting in an argument about, he started saying that, COVID and all this of it, and there's no like racism, systemic racism, and I had this ire rise in me that we're on the middle of vacation, and we started yelling at each other, and Rachel said, a friend of hers told her, don't let this dude ruin your family. Figure out a way to suck it up till you can have a normal conversation. And I don't think the normal conversations are going to happen until after this guy's gone.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
I think so, because it's very important. It's important as far as being able to walk outside and feel safe, and that wasn't something that hit me until it hit me a few months after he first got elected, because at the time I lived in the middle of Hollywood, a lot of my neighbors were Hispanic, and I knew some of them were there illegally, and they're all great people. We all hung out. They would bring me food when they were cooking. I remember I gave one of their kids an Xbox, because Microsoft just gave me an Xbox, so since that day they were like, you're the fucking best.
That always works.
And then I remember after the election and seeing the fear in their eyes, and seeing this thing of like, oh, they don't know if one day someone's just going to show up and round them up and send them somewhere. And that was one of the first times I was like, oh, this is different. This is something scary.
So one of the silver linings, to your point, is that he has created an environment where we've made a pivot, and we can see things like on a grand scale, like, oh my God, there's so much racism still. The systemic racism is still here. Holy shit.
We had a pre-existing condition that nobody really knew about, kind of, and Trump made it form a cyst and a tumor, and we're like, now I got a tumor.
Well, especially once Obama was elected, a lot of people were just being like, well, there is no racism anymore.
Right.
You got a black president. Everything's fine. How can you complain about anything? You're being crazy. And then now it's just clearly showing like, oh, we move forward a few feet, and this guy's trying to drag us back a bunch of miles.
I think. Do you think so? Obama being elected and doing such a great job, like, people don't understand. I always say Obama was handed a shit sandwich and he made shrimp salad. I mean, he was handed the worst economy, turned it around, and the stats. Whenever these assholes start arguing with me, my Twitter's it doesn't hurt me.
I watch you.
It doesn't hurt me. I like it. People go, he asks, how do you do it? I go, oh, it fuels me. It fuels me. My heckling is responses are awesome now in the clubs. But I think that. Is it these racists who got really mad that this black man handled his business, took care of it, did it classy, his family, his wife, everything about the dude is so great, and he violated the Constitution. No, he's a constitutional law attorney. I don't think he's gonna. And do you think that's why the pendulum swung so far back?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a reaction
that's
to
a dumb reaction.
what was going on. They were like, we don't like this. We don't like this one bit. And so that now we're seeing the reaction. And I'm hoping that we
It's like
end
when
up
they
with
burned down Tulsa, except for in an electoral sense.
Yes.
They're like, no,
Yes.
this is working too well. We can't have this again.
We just
Let's
gotta
get this
back to that middle at least, or just keep moving forward.
Why doesn't this guy just quit? He's on a daily basis.
His ego. He's too.
But he just fucking makes it worse every day.
I don't think he thinks that though. He thinks he's making things great.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. I've never seen a dude. Every movie makes it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you were in
Yeah.
charge, why would you care? Like, why would you care? My family's getting money. I'm getting money. We're fine.
Yeah.
He's raping the country too, man.
Yeah, no, he's pillaging. He's truly pillaging.
I mean, did you see the donor thing? Like he was so donors gave him, he's like 60 or 70, whatever it was, 60 million for the thing in donor money. So what he did was he charged, because campaign donations can only be like $2,500 or whatever. So he charged for rooms at his hotel, like 700 rooms, $2,500. And they showed it on, I was like MSNBC or something, and I was like, holy shit, the dude's he's not just raping the country, he's raping the people that are trying to get him reelected. And that's what bothers me.
That's the part I like. That's the only part I like when they pulled Steve Bannon off that yacht.
Oh, that was awesome.
The wall money.
Yep.
I was like, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, things are moving in the right direction.
And they're calming down a little bit. But the new one is, what's the new one he just did? Oh, they finally got some indictments are coming up on the inaugural fund. They did. Okay, so I don't know how you throw, because Obama's inaugural cost $50 million. Trump's was $111 million. And I don't know if they paid those baton twirlers from that high school that much money, because there was nobody there, and they found out like 80 million disappeared.
Well, maybe because they had to hire people to show up. They had like seat fillers.
No, it flat out disappeared. Some guy got 20 million. The one lady, the only person that paid for it, she had 26 million. She had $1 million for her firm, and then 25 million. She just wrote a book on Melania. She actually paid for the thing. There was 111 million. So 25 million went to that inaugural where there was nobody there, and the rest of it disappeared.
Wow.
And that these people aren't just fucking burning shit down and screaming. I don't understand it, because he fuels their racism. Is that it? Is racism worth that?
Well, I mean, if you just look back at history, a lot of people have been tricked to acting against their best interests by just aiming at an enemy. You know, and that's what we still do. Like, before it was like, NAFTA, Mexicans are taking your job, and then it's Muslims coming in the country and thing. And now it's
Irish, Italians,
it goes Japanese,
Japanese, Indians. We got to take the
propaganda 101, and we see it now. But it's so funny because it becomes like black people and this and that, and now it's just like there's just lawless people destroying. They don't even know what they want, and it's like, no, you are using
TikTok is evil. Go after them. Yeah.
Anti-fascist is
right.
evil.
Right.
Like, how does that make any sense?
That's the definition of wait.
It's so funny. But that's the level. Billy Gardell said it best. He said he goes. I knew we were stupid. I didn't know we were this stupid. Like when you have to explain what Antifa means to people and what it stands for, they're just like, that's bullshit. No, it's not. It's not ISIS. It's not the same shit. It's the opposite of ISIS.
In the word. That's the word.
In fact, those guys in Charlottesville, Antifa formed a wall and protected clergy because those cats were coming at clergy. They fucking stopped them. It's like the most. It's everything that Jesus stood for. And these guys are like, we can't have Antifa. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why I love so much. Like right now, we're people who are at the front line of this on a positive way are millennials, the very people that up until 6 months ago, every comedian was going around talking shit about. Yeah. And so I love the fact that now they are the people literally saving our lives by getting hit with rubber bullets, having their phones out. There's so many, like I said, I'll tell you, I mean, a joke that I will say on the thing is like, I know it's progress because this isn't new. Like there's been racism, there's been protesting. My mom protested, my grandma protested. And why I see progress is that I didn't have to protest. I sent my white assistant out for me. And I stay home and play Call of Duty. And that's what Malcolm would have wanted. Martin would have wanted.
The cell phone has become the Harriet Tubman of 2020. Yes. You have to admit that, because now I think what everybody said, oh bullshit. There was a lot of that going on. Oh bullshit. That didn't happen. He obviously did something. Now we're seeing cops just fuck people up, innocent people, like this last shooting. And here's what bothers me the most about it. And I've been really arguing with myself about it. And the only argument is, what do I do? What do I do? I'm doing what I can on Twitter, but Twitter's you're bitching into nothing, into the abyss. This happened already. Rodney King. In my lifetime, this happened in Rodney King. Now, before that, it happened repeatedly. Yeah. It happened on the
but now we're seeing it.
Bridge.
Right. It's on display. And we can see the entire scenario go down. Like, no, that's not what really happened. This woman was on her own porch. Yeah, she's just doing nothing. What's wrong with that?
Breonna Taylor was sleeping. She was sleeping.
Yeah.
And these are just the famous ones. People still, they're still famous, but people skip over. Like, there's no explanation of what happened to Sandra Bland. Like, how do you die in police custody and no one has an explanation?
So keep room on your phone, people.
She got Epsteined. That's another thing I don't get.
But she didn't get the fun.
Yeah, exactly. No upside. Not she didn't have the house. That's another thing too. So do you have it? I ask everybody, from Richard Marks, whoever's on the podcast, why do these people continue to get fucked over by that guy? The guy's obviously, you say you're a Christian, but he's the worst dude we've ever seen. Like everything, you get like that the Bible didn't burst into flames in his hands that day is crazy. He's just the worst guy, and yet they stand with him like it's cult leader. It's the Manson family.
But it's not that hard to wrap your mind about.
It is for me.
Okay, I will explain it in a way that I think you will get very easily.
All right, I'm done.
Did you ever date a person that everybody around you knew was shitty and knew would hurt you, and they told you, and then what did you do? You go, nah, fuck you. No, that's my girl.
You don't know her.
You don't know her like I know her.
Like I know her. No, come on, man. She needs me.
Yes.
She's that way because she was in her past.
And that's how these people are. They go.
That's the story of my life.
The more you press people and go, no, you're stupid. You're racist if you like them. The more they just dig in because you're saying their girlfriend is bad. You're saying that their girlfriend is ugly. And they're gonna go, fuck you. I love her.
Yep. She looks so good in red. Come on.
Yeah, you don't know her. You never had to make you a sandwich. You don't know what she could do.
Trump can't make a sandwich, is what I'm going to say. That motherfucker couldn't do anything. And I don't
the little hands, he can't really.
But I will say this. So people always ask, I'm hearing this and I don't like hearing this. They keep saying, oh, he's going to get reelected. No, he's not. I keep saying, no, he's not. Not a chance. He may steal it. He may do some shit where we all show up at the White House. Yeah. That's why those walls went up around it. But I go, he ain't going to win. And they go,
he didn't win the first time.
Right.
He didn't exactly. He didn't win the first time. So God, that's my new answer to everybody, by the way. And they keep saying it that he's going to win. I'm like, you can't keep saying that. You will create it to happen in a way that you won't. There's no way this guy can win. And here's how I know it's not going to happen. When I started writing Amerigeddon, the show I wrote when he first got elected, and we filmed. People, dude, I was getting heckled. Like I would go, and Trump, fuck you, Trump, 23. They just going crazy. And I mean, getting kicked out for the first 3 months. And then it kind of mellowed out. I kind of got the jokes worked out. And then about a year and a half into it started to die down. Well, even when I started with Twitter a year ago, it was still pro-Trump. Now, I've said the worst shit about this dude, and there's no comeback anymore on it. They just quiet. Every once in a while I'll get, yeah, right, dude. That's the most they got now. I don't think the guy's going to win.
No, I mean, I'm hopeful. I'm trying to keep hope and lower my expectations.
Don't sound hopeful right now.
Well, because I've been let down plenty of times. That was also the only enjoyment I got out of that election, because I was on doing a live show of At Midnight on election day, and they had all their bits together. They had a Trump concession speech bit, they had a Hillary Clinton acceptance bit, and then halfway through the show they had to all cut that shit, and everybody just started getting sad, and I saw a lot of white ladies crying, and
my wife burst into tears.
Yeah, and I was upset, and I didn't like it, but I didn't understand why these people were so upset, and then it hit me. I go, oh, this is the first time the system let you down.
Wow.
I'm used to this.
Wow. I am having an awakening.
Boom.
Speaking of awakenings, my friend, you just got married. Congratulations.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's going very well. It's her birthday today, and she was very
Happy birthday.
okay with me coming here and doing this podcast.
That's a nice woman. That's a good
Yeah,
woman.
yeah,
I had a buddy who just got divorced. Now, but speaking of what you said before, a friend of mine had this woman. You ever be with a friend and he's got a woman with him, and you just 2 meetings you realize, oh shit, this guy is getting just reamed and this ain't gonna last that long. And they stay years past when you think. Dude stayed 2 decades past I thought, and then I finally heard to the grapevine he got divorced. Like, we've stopped being friends because I have a big mouth, and he would just be. This guy's really successful, and he's a badass, and she would just beat him down. And one day I go, why do you want him like that? And she goes, because his head gets too big. He's real fucking talented. And so I told him, I was like, dude, you know what you need to do? I go, next time she gives you that shit, just tell her it doesn't fucking happen. Get your shit, get out. Just do it. So he does. And then she goes, where are you getting this? And she goes, Titus told me that you. And I was like, man.
Yeah, you're done. Man. You're out of that life now.
Well, we're not friends anymore, dude.
No, yeah.
So what happened was his birthday. She had her birthday, and he said he was getting ready. He was going to be there at 6, had a dinner plan for presents, and she was like, if you're not going to be here at 5, I don't fucking want to go out with you.
That's a bit much.
That's a bit much.
That's so loving. Oh, so supportive and loving.
So you know what he said? He goes, that was the day I decided to get divorced because I realized I was relieved.
Right.
He goes, I didn't have to go to dinner with her. I was happy. And that was the moment where I call it the switch flip moment. We all have it in a relationship where he went, oh my God, I'm so happy I don't have to see this bitch.
Right. You know, it's the right decision. Yes. They're like, well, I need that 24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had
well,
that day.
Ken, we talked about it. Ken's wife went gay. Well, she was gay, but
Nice.
she tried to fight it, and then they had a kid, and then it didn't work out, and then she left for a girl. So
I had that moment of relief.
Mm-hmm.
I had that same exact, like, oh, okay, good. So now I can find someone who actually wants to be with me.
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
that's like, that's not on you in any way. That was them not going through their natural path and trying to force something. If anything, it's very complimentary of you that you could
thank you,
make
sir.
someone who was supposed to be gay reconsider for a while.
Oh, hey, dude, what? How are you so
Thank you so
positive?
much.
Ladies and
That is-
gentlemen,
Thank you so
finally
much.
put a spin. You're a bad motherfucker. He just made you James Bond. Do you know that? You
myself
kept the
right now.
lesbian not being a lesbian for how many years?
I made her wonder about her sexuality. Huh.
Yes.
Not the.
Oh, this show on Saturday.
I don't know if there's many men that could do that for me. Maybe The Rock.
That's
That's it.
right. I got that's 2. Justin Timberlake. So I have 2. Ryan Reynolds. There's 2, and that's it. I'd be like, I'm gonna be dead honest. I like talented, funny. Hey, all right, all right. I'm reconsidering. I'm gonna take a minute with this. Like, I may have to come to you. It's not working. It's not working. It feels too weird, but we're friends now, right? We'll stay friends. Rachel gives me shit about that all the time.
Yeah, no, I mean, up until I posted my wedding pictures, most people on my Twitter thought I was gay because
That
I
was
had
a
my
weird.
lisp,
I had a minute like that, but because I don't know what it is. It's just you're positive. But I what was that like to have people be like? Because I saw it a lot. Mm-hmm. Even now, I've seen people say.
I kind of subscribe to the Prince theory about that, where I'm like, oh, I like making people wonder. Then that's fun.
Yeah.
And to me, then that's more of a groups of people that think they have a shot at me.
It's more fans.
And that's why Ron lost all that weight. You a big Prince fan at all?
I love Prince. I wouldn't say like I couldn't go through and be like, oh, I remember this album, but yeah, of course,
I'm
Prince
psycho.
is amazing.
I'm
Yeah.
psycho like that. Psycho like that.
No.
My daughter's a musician now, and I always go to the Prince canon, and she's tired of it. She's a songwriter. She's like, Dad, stop bringing in Prince. There's other people. No, there wasn't. Never.
I mean, he did a lot. He did a whole lot, and a lot of it good. And I mean, that actually makes sense that you love him so much because he was such an independent maverick in the music industry, and you seem like you like to do that in comedy as well.
Because of him, actually. When I started finding out, when I found out that he at 17 he did his own album, then that's how I got my TV show. That he would just do it his own. I had 2 deals before when I walked in, and I went, I write this show, I don't want to do it. They were offering me a deal. I said nope. I said, I write it, I won't do it, and that's how Titus came around. You know, so I think you have to stand up artistically. You stand up for yourself.
Oh, absolutely, you have to. You truly have to in this business, or you end up down some paths that you definitely don't want to go. I've talked to so many people that they don't understand the thing. Like, oh, if any job in entertainment, if you end up like on a sitcom, or you end up a correspondent on a Daily Show, or you end up on a Saturday Night Live, that any of those things means your dream come true. But that's not the case always, you know? Like, I don't want to be on Saturday Night Live. I've never had any interest in that. I loved being on a sitcom, but then I quickly learned, I'm like, oh, okay, I want to create and make my own things. I like being at the bottom of the like to be at the very beginning. That's where the money is. And that's, you know, you come in later. The later you come in, the smaller the check, is what I learned.
Right. I've never heard it cleared up like that, but exactly right. Well, I wanted to do it because I had been through 2 deals, and they were just, it's so hard to be frustrated creatively, because I would go, these writers would come in who'd never done comedy, never had to pay their rent or eat with comedy. So guess what? I can get to it a lot faster, and I don't want to change it. They'd be like, just say what's on the page, and I don't have that. I don't have that muscle. You know, you're better at it. You're more diplomatic.
You will be surprised. Depends on the day, and
I can't see you going off though.
I don't go off, but I will. I am fucking. People know when I have a problem. That's for sure. They do know, and I had to learn that quickly because I didn't realize. Because I am a writer, and I'm not very precious about it. I'm just like, oh, either it's funny or it wasn't. Right. And I would be on set and I would read a line and I go, oh, that's not funny. And then one time I caught it out the corner of my eye, saw a writer go, and I was like, oh shit, I can't be that honest. I have to say it in a better way, you know?
Right.
Why?
But because we're used to dealing with comics, though. That's the problem. Is that, like, you paid me. So here's the thing: my entire career is, from the time I was 19, my job was to go on stage and say the truth and make it funny. And comics we're fucking horrible to each other. Like, we're all hanging in a room, we just beat on each other all day long. Right. There's a lot of writers that you just can't. A lot of creative people can't deal with that.
Yeah, my wife writes, and I even tell her, like, we have this discussion now. I go, like, okay, she's like, hey, will you read this for me? And then both of us, if I ask her to read something or if she reads something for me, the next words out of our mouth is, what do you need from me? Do you need me to be the husband, or do you need me to be the creative right now?
Good for you. Figured out a way to keep the peace and understand what she's
in a lot of
asking for.
And she'll tell me, she goes, could you sandwich it? Could you, you know, could you start with some positives and then tell me?
Then tire irons, then
yes, and then the thing, because just the way I write, been in writing room so long, like I will just run and go, oh no, this doesn't work. I would, you know, and obviously I write differently from you, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I tell you what I see.
Right.
And I won't sugarcoat it, because that's just wasting time.
That's what I always said. Dana Carvey told me years ago, one time I asked him to watch my act, and he said that to me. This is when I was brand new. I was maybe 20, 21, and I go, Dana, I got to open for him. I'm like, Dana, would you do me a favor? Would you please watch my act? And he goes, do you want me to tell you you're good, or do you want me to tell you the truth? And I went, tell me the truth. I was raised by my dad. I was like, tell me the truth. I can deal with it. And he was very honest with me. And I still, to this day, use what he told me in that show. So she's a writer. That's awesome. How did you meet her? On a set writing?
We met on Bumble originally. She had one picture of herself that I assumed that she's stolen from somewhere else.
Right.
Which is why she still to this day has a nickname Robot. I thought she was just a bot.
Why? Because the picture was too good?
It was her?
It was very pretty. It was her. It was very pretty. It just also was kind of blurry in a way that you would think, like, oh, they just took a screen cap off of someone's Facebook.
Like a security photo.
Yeah. And it was just that it was one photo, and that I still to this day remember her original opening line to me was, "Oh, I've been looking for a perfect gentleman, and one has appeared." And I was like, "Who the fuck are you, robot?"
It sounds very generic, robot-y.
That is, yeah, right.
Yeah. And so we talked for a bit. We went on a couple of dates, and as she said, I passed on her.
This is awesome because chicks don't take this well.
No. Right.
You can't. Women are fine with deciding they don't like you.
Truly.
But they're not great with you saying I don't want to see you anymore.
They're not used to that one bit. No, not at all. It actually, I wouldn't use it as a tool, but you have to mean it. But I have found it to be very helpful later.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yes, it has.
But the reason why it worked for us is like I was just in a different mindset. I've been working on a couple of shows, feeling myself. She didn't know who I was, and I didn't know who she was. And the way she looked, I just assumed that she was like, "Oh, you just want to hang out. I'm a fucking nerd. I have my son. You just want to hang out with me. You want to meet some big name comics, and then you'll go fuck them." And so I was like, "Let's just not do that. You want me to just introduce you to somebody?"
That's a lot of damage, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I know. That's why I had to go to therapy. It's a bit of damage.
Those 4 sentences were literally 2 decades of therapy.
Yeah. No, it's the reason why we're together is that I went to therapy. For sure, it was very helpful.
Wow.
And that was a big part of it. And I was just used to, like, we went on 2 or 3 dates, and I was like, 2 dates, and I was like, well, I'm used to having sex by now, and I'm gonna go hang out with girls that are okay with that. And so, but we remained friends, and what she always says is that I was very upfront with her. I didn't ghost her. Wasn't like, oh, let's hang out. I was like, hey, I'm interested in a couple other people right now. I'm gonna go pursue this other relationship. I think you're wonderful. And she said she had never gotten a letter like that before, and so we just kind of stayed friends. And that girl that I was hanging out with, that just fizzled out. And one day I just sent her an Instagram message and was like, "Hey, are you in?" Because I knew she was Canadian, and so I didn't even know she was in town. I was like, "Hey, are you in LA?" And she was like, "I'm in LA for a couple more weeks, but I'm leaving." And we just got together, and our first date changed our whole thing. We just didn't cause the first time we went out, we went hiking. She was asking me who my entourage was, who I hung out with, and I was like,
She didn't use the word posse, did she?
No, but she used the word entourage.
Legit.
And so I was like, I don't know. You mean my son? My friend Gabe? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I thought she was a different type of person. I thought she was looking for entourages, looking for that stuff. But what I didn't know is that she had gone on a couple of dates with other comedians, and they had pretended to be like that, and were big timing her and hanging out and acting like they were all Hollywoody. And so she was like, oh, this is how they act. And we went on one real date together. She just came to my house and she goes, "Show me your favorite sitcom." So I showed her I Love Lucy, and I go, "Show me your favorite sitcom." So she showed me Golden Girls, and then she goes, "Have you ever seen this episode of Golden Girls where they watch I Love Lucy?" And I go, "No." And then I was like, I think
the streams have crossed. That's awesome, bro. Wow.
How long? When did you get married? How long
we got married 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Wow.
Yeah, pictures are awesome, man. And she's a writer. What is she?
She does mostly comedy, cartoons. She's still working at it. She's still a baby writer, but she's really funny, really good writer. Really, I like working with her. We still.
You approach
separate.
I like to approach the business. I don't give a shit. I've never given a shit about the trappings of the business. Mm-hmm. Never given a fuck. I always want to make enough money to survive and live and do what I want to do. That's why when we did this studio and we just shot an episode, we shot the last episode of Titus. I never got to do it. We're in the middle of COVID. And I got to this thing where Hulu bought 20th, and so no one really knows who owns Titus right now. So I put them on my site for COVID for free, let people know that you see the episodes. And I just got the crew together. I go, "You guys want to try this? We'll just do it." And I wrote it. I really wrote a really funny script, and I'm pretty hard on myself. It was a pretty funny script.
Yeah.
And then we did it, and we made money on it. We made money, but I got through it. We did it the way we wanted to, and I find that so much more rewarding than being. Fucking have some guy who's never been funny, who has a law degree, who's telling me what I hated that at the network. God, I hated that at the network.
Yeah, I mean, just on the lower level, because I don't like to get too complaining about Hollywood type stuff. But
here's the thing: I'm not complaining.
No, you're being completely truthful and honest. You're not lying. I'm just saying that sometimes when I do it, because I haven't done as much as you, people are like, "Who are you?" But I just came from.
I think you're mistaken, but okay.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure I'm mistaken.
With stand-up, I just came from a very independent world. I set my schedule. I set when I'm going up. I hang out. I do what I want. And then when you go to do shows and stuff, it's very much hand-holding of like, oh, where are you going? Are you going 10-1? What are you doing? And I was not used to have to telling people when I go to the bathroom.
Right.
I did not like that at all.
Really? When you were doing, was this when you were doing
Undateable and stuff like that? Yeah. And one of the things I hated the most is that then we did like an Undateable comedy tour, and that was the very first time where I saw them come into my world, and they would be like, oh, you can't, we need to wrap up your after show because we got to get to the next hotel, and we don't want you spending too much time hugging people and shaking hands. And I'm like, no, this is my job. This is my life. If they're here in this line to see me, I'm going to shake their hand.
Yeah.
I'm going to hug them. I'm not going to fucking change to go to some corporate dinner that I don't give a shit about.
Right, and I want them to come next year too. I want them to see my new stuff next year.
Exactly.
By the way, these people kept me alive for the last 20 years. You're new.
You're very, very new. Yeah, I don't know you.
Yeah. Well, he toured us with a band too. Did you ever feel like that with the fans?
Oh yeah.
You gotta take care of them, man.
Yeah, totally. We did everything for them.
I also hate that thing. Prince used to say he hated that term. They're my friends. I don't like the term fan because it means fanatic, and I don't like to hang out with fanatics.
Yeah, right.
And I thought that was an interesting quote.
Yeah, I mean, I like to look at supporters because they truly keep me alive, and I learned it a lot from professional wrestling. I'm friends with
you
this guy.
a crazy professional wrestling fan.
Crazy fan, fanatic, people would say. And I'm friends with a few now, and one of them is the gentleman named Tamatanga, and he comes from a family of wrestlers. His dad is Haku Ming. He's one of the legendary wrestlers, and he said that he learned from him that he's like, hey, never ever put a fan down. Nope. Never be too busy to shake hands because these people pay for the dinner that we're having. And when he told me that, even though that was fucking 6 months ago, he just told me that, and I was like, oh, I still need to have more gratitude and more. I mean, this is one thing that the lockdown and COVID has really taught me is that, like, without an audience, without their expendable money, without their ability to be outside and chilling, we're nothing. And that's been so much of my like mid-20s, early 30s being like, oh, you guys just don't get me. I don't want to be fucking Philadelphia. I want to go do shows in Seattle. Like now I'm just like, I'll love to do a show anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think it tuned all of us up. It definitely tuned all of us up. I loved it anyways. I've been doing it for so long. Actually, after the show ended, you go through this thing when your show ends. You went through it Undateable. But this show was my name, my family, and and it ended bad because I had this really down time, and I decided after Titus, I said, okay, I'm going to put out a new special every year and a half because that's where I live. That's what I do. I can write another show. I've got a WGA nomination. I can do that. I can write a show. You want me to write a show? Fine. I sold a bunch of other shows, but this is what I do. I'm a comedian who writes. I'm not a writer who does comedy. I'm a comedian who writes. Okay, let's get into this. Who's our first one today?
Okay, first one.
Bombshell really flows in a lot.
Yeah, she right. She jumps in.
I was just waiting for you to like do the, and you didn't, Hylinder.
That's okay. Okay, that's okay. First one is Harry's.com.
Okay, let's smooth that up a little bit. Smooth that up a little bit. Give me something. Hey, by the way,
hi everybody.
Here we go. You know what, man? I haven't like in the last couple of days. I haven't really. I just look.
Yeah, you're looking like you're
a little rough, a little scraggly,
rough around the edges there.
We're busting while I went on vacation. I've
got something for you.
Do you?
Yeah. Have you heard of Harry's.com?
So you've seen.
Have you ever tried Harry's.com?
Because we're all
no, but I'm deeply interested.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
let me be clear about this company. German factory, 5 blades. These dudes came out of nowhere, and we didn't have to. I love these guys because your podcast. They work with you ever?
Not yet, but come on board, Harry's.
Awesome. They're awesome, man. They actually. They dropped the price, so you no longer have to go to get the lockbox out of the razors at the Walgreens. Yeah, you could.
And they're not $1 million.
There's not $1 million. A blade. A blade
for one. You gotta sit around the store waiting for some clerk to come unlock a razor blade.
Like your beard.
I'm not trying to buy Sudafed and make meth.
Exactly. I always feel weird too. Like I'm like, do I look like I would steal razors? It's just why are they locked up? Anyways, so tell me about Harry's because Harry's. We're coming up on the fall season, and just tell me what the new thing thing says.
The new thing says, well, Harry's has an amazing
Can't
offer.
wait till my co-host is back.
I barely do this. Oh, how dare you. Harry's has an amazing offer for listeners of The Titus Show. New U.S. customers can redeem a Harry's trial set at harrys.com/Titus. You'll get a 5-blade razor featuring their new sharper blades, a weighted handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover to protect your blade
Sharper
when you're
blades?
on the go. Even sharper.
How the hell do you get sharper?
I
It's
don't,
5
you don't even touch
blades.
your face with it. It's just
That's a joke
wind.
I did. We have razors right now. With the technology, I'm talking about something, I forget what the bit was, but they have blades, razors now, that if you move too fast, will cut your head. Cosby-ism. Will cut your head off. I told the joke so funny. I pointed that out to people. I go, okay, listen to my act. They go, dude, you're so, you talk so different. No, it's Cosby. It's just Cosby.
Yeah.
I just don't rape people.
It's only Cosby. Only the rhythm.
But guys, Harry's razors, the best razors we've ever had. I use them all the time. I am not, and again, on the podcast, we don't sell shit that we don't use. So Harry's, go to harrys.com, face the day.
harrys.com/Titus and redeem your trial offer today.
Good. All right, let's do another one just in case.
Okay, let's
I mean, it's become a bit at this point.
Is anyone hungry?
I'm a little bit peckish.
Okay, great. Do you like fresh food?
Yeah, but more than stale, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. No, I would like a synthetic thing that was made from chemicals. But wait. Tell me about this fresh food you just brought up.
Well, HelloFresh offers convenient delivery right to your doorstep for easy home cooking with the family.
Stop. I want to talk about this. So HelloFresh comes on board. Okay, all right, and listen, to me, I get this thing, we're comics, we're cynical, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, you're cynical first.
Yes.
So HelloFresh wants to come on. I always tell them, I say, Ray, all right, have them send us this stuff if we want to do it. They send us these 3 meals, and they were perfectly packaged with everything you needed, and one was this panko chicken thing they did. To this day, and Ray is a good cook.
Yeah.
She got pissed. She was like, this is great. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Can we hear more of this? And then I kept bragging about this. She's not here, so I can talk about this. She started to get pissed that I liked it so much because she's a damn good cook.
Right, you don't respond to my meals.
She's like, whoa, bring it down. It was like I was cheating on her food.
Right.
With it. So HelloFresh was awesome. Everything we had, we did these Kobe sliders that they sent us. And there was one more thing we did. It was everything they sent us was great. So tell us what the deal we get for them. Oh man, I got this. My mouth is watering because it was so good what they sent us.
So with HelloFresh, go to hellofresh.com/Titus80. Use code Titus80 to get a total of $80 off your first month, including free shipping on your first box. Additional restrictions apply. Please visit hellofresh.com.
Did you
for
say
details.
8 or 80?
80.
Wow.
$80 off.
That's
your
a
first
fair
month.
amount.
That's legit.
That's a chunk.
Yeah.
They take a chunk off.
That's a lot of free meals.
70 meals, 3 meals a day. All right. Oh, we'll hold the other one off. I'll let you work on your technique for a minute, and then we'll do the last one. Let's get it. You just did this. You just went, I can't. You turned to the little kid. Speaking of little kids, I want to hear about your son, man. Here's the thing, people don't. I don't think this is. A lot of people don't know this about you. When I did your podcast, I was really interested in hearing about it. Your son is autistic. Mm-hmm. Explain. I want to hear about this a little bit. I want to hear about your son specifically, and then I want to hear about what you know about autism. Because as comics, we have this way of approaching things. And when you find a dude that's got like a lot of heart, like some guys have a charity, some guys have a thing, but you approach it differently. Comics approach things differently. So explain to me about your son, because I remember we talked about the X and stuff, right?
Yeah, my son. I had my son, or my wife had our son. I did not birth him, but when
you involved,
I was very much involved.
Okay, good.
She was pregnant when I was 19. My son was born a month after my 20th birthday, which I was very, very blessed. Cause I was
totally ready for it.
I'm not a teenager.
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. I'm 20 years old. I can't buy beer, but I can raise this son.
Man!
And my son was diagnosed with autism when he was 2. And why it came up is just that... there's a lot of little neurological things. He was, developing pretty normally. And then at some point, he just was losing speech. He wasn't sleeping. At one point, we thought he was deaf just because he wouldn't respond to anything. But if you played the Elmo's World theme song, his head would whip around like a top. And so I was like, well, he's not deaf.
Right.
And so my mom was actually the first person.
You're just way more boring than Elmo.
Yeah.
You have to just face
clearly,
the fact
for
that
sure.
Elmo owns this house.
I do know that, yes. My mom was the first person who was like, hey, my mom was a nurse, and She was like, I think he might be on the spectrum. We should get him checked out, which I was resistant to at first, just because you think you want your kid to be perfect and nothing's different, nothing's wrong, and I found out my son had autism when he was 2 years old, and it was the reason why I got into comedy, because I was like, oh, if I have to, I need a career. I can't just have some random job.
Wait, this wasn't, you just decided one day to get into comedy?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a comedian since I was 5 years old.
Me too.
But I didn't think it was a real thing, and then I didn't believe in myself.
Everybody tells you it's not a real thing.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, I told so many people, I want to be a comedian. I'm a little, shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of that. And so when I had my son, I was just working at I was working at a grocery store, taking a lot of gravity bong hits, just hanging out, having a good time. Then when my son was born, I was like, I need to buckle down. I got a job at a bank call center. I was wearing a tie to work. I was answering phone calls from the East Coast about their credit cards and things like that. And then when my son was diagnosed, it kind of just tweaked my brain. And I was like, oh, like, I don't know what's going to happen in life. I don't know anything. I know my son's different. I felt this whole life that I'm different. I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. If I need to defend my son's differences for the rest of his life, I should be able to defend myself. And I just need a career. There's got to be something I want to start at the bottom of that could eventually maybe be able to afford a house for him, or if he never is able to live independently from me, that I need to be able to take care of him past the time that I'm dead. And so
you have a lot of conversation with yourself. You have a long conversation with yourself.
I do.
Wow. That a lot of people aren't that insightful. How old were you at this point? 20, 21?
20. Well, he was 22.
So I fell into a bonfire and I woke up the next day. I'm not kidding. I woke up the next day and I went home and I decided that I've been wanting to be a comedian since I was like, fuck it. The doctor told me you could have died. He goes, honestly, if you'd have breathed in, and I had the same moment where I was like, my conversation wasn't as long as yours. I went, I'm doing what I want to do because my life can end any second.
Yeah, that's a lot part of it. Yes.
And I was like, so what's the point in doing what you want me to do or you want me to do? I'm doing what I want to do and fuck everybody else. And that changed everything.
Truly. That's very, very similar.
So what kind of autism might be like? Just because there's so many different kinds.
Yeah, there's Asperger's.
Because he's a sweet kid.
Yeah, he's got classic autism. What at the time?
Throwback autism.
Throwback, old school, classic Coke autism. Would have been pretty. I guess it would have been classified as severe at the time. It's a little more medium to mild now, because he's been in therapy since he was 2. Like I always joke that my son's been in school like a regular person since he was 2 years old. So he's very affectionate, very loving, very independent. Now is the best. Like I'll probably come home from this and he'll be emptying out the dishwasher and I'll walk in and he'll be like, hey, and I'm like, how are you? Good. It's great. I love it.
So it's made the therapy hasn't made it. They've made like huge strides in the last 20 years.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, absolutely. ABA therapy, different physical therapies he's been through, and then the best thing has been since high school is that I've had him in like a weekly speech therapy since he was like 14. So
what an interesting thing at 20, because so.
There's a lot to take in. That's a lot
it's
at 20.
It's a fair amount at 20.
At 20.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a comic. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
right.
I don't really have a real job. I got this job where I got to hustle 24/7.
Right.
And here's the weird thing about that is that, because I did the same thing. I'd fallen into a bonfire. So when these comics, because I was drinking, and these comics, when I started comedy, everybody was partying. And I'm like, I'm going to go home and write.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going home and write.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd write till 4 a.m, and then I'd do new material the next week. And they'd be doing the same shit. And then I would do it. And then I started calling on the road because I had to, I didn't have any, there was no space for that in my life. And so you had to do the same thing.
Yes.
You couldn't hang out with the cats and be the in crowd thing. You were like, I got a kid and I got to work.
Yeah. There was no time for play, and also like I didn't even I started comedy in Portland, Oregon. I lived in Salem, 45 minutes away. So every open mic I did, everything was like, oh, I'm making a 45-minute drive. I need to hit as many sets as I can, which was usually at that time 2 or 3 max, and then I need to drive back home. And I just got, because I have to be with my son. There was no, I'll hang out and hit on girls. I'm allergic to alcohol, so I couldn't drink anyway.
That's a bitch.
It's very helpful for me though. I
Yeah.
feel like if I drank, I might have already been dead because
Not
I
pot,
was
though, you're good.
360 pounds without drinking. So
Yeah, I saw a picture of you recently. I was like, I forgot how much weight you really lost, man. I
appreciate it.
that was a badass move. That was a baller move, man. How did that happen?
A lot of that was like my first time having any success. You know, it didn't matter before. I didn't really believe in myself, but I was like, I'm just doing things, and I eat poorly, but I'm poor, so it doesn't matter. Like, I can't eat that much. And then once I got the show, it was like, oh fuck, I can fucking get cheesesteaks twice a day. This is fucking awesome, you know. And then I kind of blew up from like 310.
That sentence never works out. I can get cheesesteaks twice a day. That sentence never goes well.
No, it doesn't end well. And I started seeing it was something I could hide from, because it's not like I was walking around looking at mirrors all the time. But when you see yourself on TV, you kind of have to be like, oh fuck, like, oh, I don't look healthy, you know? And my mom, who's again a nurse, she one time, she came home for Thanksgiving, and she bought me some clothes, and she was just like, I don't like buying you clothes this big. It doesn't make me feel good as a mom. It makes me worried about you and that. And then the guy who ran the show, Bill Lawrence, he was like, hey man, I've seen you at the gym every now and again, but it doesn't seem to stick for you, but it seems like you want it. He's like, what if I introduce you to my trainer? He's like, and then it was one of the best conversations I ever had. One of the kindest people in Hollywood that was completely opposite and everything else. Because he was like, hey, man, I know on the breakdown it says he's an overweight guy. He's doing all this. He goes, but we like you. Like, you're funny. Just you is whatever you want to be is funny. If you don't want to carry that weight on you, you don't have to do that for this role. I will introduce you to my trainer. I will, in fact, and I don't tell many people this, but for the first year, he's like, look, I'll just pay for your training. And he just paid for my training for a year. And then at one point he was like, you're making enough money.
I worked on your contract.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not on my show anymore.
So I want to point out that somebody in Hollywood cared about an actor and helped the actor. That's awesome, man. Now,
Bill Lawrence.
Bill Lawrence, that's great. That's a great story. That's also a testament to you, because there's a lot of people they wouldn't help. There's a lot of people they'd be like, this dude. So you just, I love that someone took you aside. Like, you're not the fat funny guy. You're just the funny guy. Mm-hmm. And when you got that, did that make a big difference?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. When he said that to me, it just kind of just hit a light for me, and I was like, this is going to lead to me having more opportunities, more chances, and that's all I want. The longer I live, the more opportunities I'll have. And so if I take care of my health, it just means that, because I was sitting around like, oh, I got this sitcom on NBC. I at that time wasn't even in acting. I think I'd been in acting class for maybe a month. And I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. What if I fucking try? What if I try my ass off? Right. How far can I go?
Wow. Do you find that you've been able to keep the patterns the same with the diet and the training and all that, keep the schedule going?
Yeah, I mean, it's very helpful, especially in this time with the lockdown and stuff. It's just nice to give myself a schedule. Yeah. Then nice to be like, oh, I got to get up at 8 to go get on the treadmill. Yeah. Because if not, I'm like, well, I don't really have to do anything till noon, probably. Right. So that's been extremely, I feel like the biggest help for this whole COVID period for me has been the fact that I had that schedule with my trainer, and like even now, like they'll just FaceTime with me. I have my weights at home. I have all my stuff at home, and so they'll just FaceTime me and we'll go through a workout.
Who's the trainer? What's his name?
His name's Jorgen DeMay.
Jorgen DeMay. I just want to shout out to Jorgen DeMay for doing what you did. It was wrong. Like, so many trainers are trainers, and then I'm working with a trainer for 4 years. Yeah, you look exactly like you looked 5 years ago. You didn't. You went from big Ron Funches to, hey.
Yeah. I'm very strong and handsome, looking more and more like a leading man every day.
Yeah, see, this is where I would have come in with the Harrys right there. Handsome.
See, now you're thinking. That's what I'm saying. It was wrong. Too late to do it.
I know, but
Yeah. The only thing I need is a shave.
But if we happen to have another ad, what would that one be?
Oh, that one might be, if you're working out at home and you're working on your stress levels, there's something else you could do.
This is the best stuff ever.
Have you tried, do you use a CBD oil?
Yes, of course.
Oh, fantastic.
You can just talk normal, actually, at one point.
Why is your voice different when you start reading it out?
You're just being you.
You've got a good voice.
You're just being you, and then you just go, well, what if you were going into that? What the fuck? When did you turn into a game show host?
I don't know.
You talk like that in real life, you would get arrested.
Yeah, they're like, this is creepy dude. What's going on with creepy dude? All right, it's all right. We will teach you how to do commercials, man. It's working out. We use it to read the copy and others when you do that voice, but when you're doing this, just be you.
Okay. Just be me. All right. This is me, guys. This is the real me.
Finally, I turn into Hannibal Lecter. Hello, Clarice. The new thing. That's a weird radio.
I've been putting on an act before.
That's even way. It's way worse.
All right, I'm going to read this
Feels?
copy. This is for Feels. Yeah.
Do we have this company, guys? CBD company, Feels. What I love about it is that it's not a synthetic drug that gives you any kind of after effect. There's no side effects. CBD oil calms me dramatically. Like if I'm, I can't. Am I right?
Yeah.
Even no THC in it.
And my wife, she does not enjoy. She enjoys THC on a very small amount, on a very rare level, but she also suffers from different cramps, different backaches all the time. And if it gets to a point where I'm like, hey, you're not being very nice right now, I'm like, you might want to take some CBD.
Is that the level of fight you guys have right there?
Oh no, we can fight.
Okay, good. I just want it to be normal, man. I
want to say, wow, you are so positive. I want to learn how to.
They're screaming at you. What they were saying? He said, "You are not being very nice right now." Wow! Oh shit! You guys almost broke up.
Oh, one time she snapped at me like this, which is a thing
with her finger.
Yeah, a lot of men don't like that, but especially a lot of black men hate that, and she did not know that, and we got into a big fight about that. I go, don't you ever snap at me. But
it's a weird thing to be
mad about. Isn't it? But that's what I'm saying.
Well, I guess West Side Story.
That's not gonna.
Yeah. I'm in the musicals.
That's
this
the
is
whole
a gang fight.
But truly, it comes from you wouldn't know because it comes from a background of a racial thing of like, hey, boy, come here.
I gotta tell you something, man. There was a great CBD. Let's finish this. Feels, guy. By the way, guys, it calms me. Like so, I will have, and I've had this recently because we were doing this show, and I had this at home. I started to panic because I'd written the script.
Yep.
The actors, I had to go film Stacy Keach at his house because of COVID.
Yep.
And I was just like, and at one point Ray goes, "You need to calm down," and because I was just like this.
Yep. Everything was coming to a head.
My iWatch is like, I hit the heart thing, and it just went no.
Vibrating.
Yeah, this is unusual heart rate. So I took the CBD oil, and it was about 40 minutes, and all of a sudden I didn't notice it. I just realized, oh, I'm good now. So it changed my day, changed my entire day. I loved it.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us? If you were going to tell them about the company, just offhandedly, casually, what would you say about the deal that they might get on the
I would say
CBD?
We have an offer. Fans of the Titus Show.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to change my voice.
Very
to
nice,
make
dude.
It sound
By the way,
more
this is
natural.
this sounds this is you.
Really
better.
good.
Yeah, this is good.
I like both,
I need some CBD oil while I do these ads. So I'm going to take
there
some
you
feels.
go. We're going to give you feels so you no
So I know
longer
how to
sound
do
like
it.
a radio DJ from 1987.
Become a member today by going to...
When you're having to read through copy and dealing with Christopher Titus critiquing you every second,
thank you, sir.
Something tells me you could
I
use
love you.
feels.
Yes. You need some feels. I need some feels.com /Titus.
Hylinder's the best, man. But it's where he usually Rachel reads the ads, and she got her own way of doing it. And I guess I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
And you were like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. And I went, no, that doesn't make me uncomfortable.
Welcome back.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, good. So
All right. So become a member today by going to feels.com /Titus, and you'll get 50% off your first order with free shipping. That's FEALS.com /Titus. Let me spell that again. FEALS.com /Titus. Become a member. Get 50% off automatically, taken off your first order with free shipping.
That's
Feels,
half.
Yeah, half off. Feels.com /Titus.
I think companies have been, especially companies we deal with, have been really great. And by the way, go to feels.com, guys. It's great stuff. They've been really good with like getting people a break. You know, I mean, I put up 4 of my specials. We rotate them for free because I'm like, you guys, you ain't coming to see me, so here, just I made my money on it. We're good, but that's why we're doing this. Are you going to go political this show?
Nice turn.
No, I want to. The show's on Saturday night, guys. Go to combustionlive.com or go to ronfunches.eventbrite.com to get tickets. But what's coming up, man? Is this stuff were you working on, or are you going to bring some new?
Oh, it'll be a lot of new.
Brand new stuff. Yes.
So much very new. It's going to be a lot of talking about Black Lives Matter and things that have been going on.
Good.
How I feel. I don't consider that political. I think that's a human topic. And I'll talk a lot about getting married and talking about what that's been like and my son. I mean, it's just, everything I do is kind of like, here's an update of what's going on in my life.
That's your new special?
Yeah. Here's an update.
The good news about it, though, is that comics, I think it's changed since I started. In the 1980s, man, everybody, you did your act for 1,000 years. You did your act till it burned out. And then when I decided to start doing a new show every year and a half, because Carlin was doing a new show every time. In the last 5 years, it seems like everybody is like now. It's because in Europe they do it all the time.
Everybody's cycle.
Yeah. Don't you think that's better?
I think it depends on your style and who you are, and I think that continues to change. I was talking with Roy Wood Jr. recently, and he was talking about hilarious and one of the greatest thinkers in comedy.
Thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Well, come on. But he was just talking about how the way that people are writing is changing, and that you can't really kind of try to hone this like 6-year, 7-year thing anymore, and that people are less just, even now, like people are less interested in just topical things or like anything that isn't about exactly what's going on. You need to be in the moment and talking about your feelings and talking about being very specific, which was really helpful for me because I always write specific. I think that's
a tenet of writing, I think.
Yeah. The difference now is that like being broad, I think is going to be like your death right now because there's reason to get you.
Yeah, if you start anything with you ever notice, you're fucked. You shouldn't even try it. I think comics that talk about themselves, I love that you actually go into you. Someone told me a long time ago, the more specific you are, the broader you become, because everybody's had a similar situation. It's not the same feeling, similar, something has happened. And so that's what I love about your comedy, dude. And you, by the way, with all the ranting and raving, all the screaming on television, this Saturday, people, Ron Funches is going to be putting on Awakenings, and you've heard how positive it is now. Imagine sitting down on Saturday night watching, and you have people coming in too.
Yeah,
and
my friends, and they're all optimistic. I'm going to say it's an evening of tempered optimism. We used to have unbridled optimism, but 2020 has tempered it. Yeah. And so it would still be optimistic. It would still be bright. I promise you, for real, it'll be fucking unique.
And funny as shit.
Yeah, it's my show. It's the show I bring on the road. I always travel with my friends, and because I know what they do, I know what they are, and I can, on my level, there's a lot of times where you're on the road and they want to give you a feature or they want to give you an MC, and it can fuck up your show because their attitude is completely different, and the people who are at the crowd have to sit through it. Please,
I want to hear one of these stories because I got a couple of them too.
I had a show in San Antonio which was horrible from the get-go. It's the only town I currently have an active beef with. They've written several articles against me as a community.
It's the only town I have an active beef with. I have 4 of those.
I have former beefs with several towns, but the only active one is with San Antonio. The club was horrible. The club owner was horrible. And then the MC, I think they were just like, well, he's a black comic. We give him a black opener. And no disrespect to this gentleman doing what he's doing, but
that's a white choice. Like, no, you don't put the same shit in front of the same shit. Because black people have a tone, right? Black comics have a tone a lot of times. You're very unusual for black comic, but there is as there are white comics, there is a genre of certain white comics that, and when I see them coming, I'm like, fuck. All right, this is gonna be good. But go ahead, finish.
Yeah, and he was just doing I've seen it often, like a black comic who's been in a white area so long that they do racist jokes against themselves, and he's just doing jokes about. He's like, when I go to the barbershop, I gotta go to the white barbershop because the black barbershop, they be spelling it with a Z and they be doing. And I was just like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, why are you doing this?
That's a different voice. Did you hear his voice just change?
Yeah.
The fuck is this, man? Like, what just happened? That was, ladies and gentlemen, the real Ron Funches. This guy, bullshit. That guy don't exist. Deep down, there's this guy. Fuck is that, man? Your inner
real.
Samuel Jackson came out a little bit.
For real. Both. I mean, I have range.
Yeah. I have range. And so did you say anything to him about it?
No, he ended up isolating himself. I remember at one point he refused to come into the green room.
His anger was so big, he isolated himself.
Yeah. He didn't want to come in the green room because he's like...
He quarantined himself from Ron. Because Ron couldn't stand his comedy.
Most positive, like...
Do you know, that's what I'm saying. Do you know how bad it was that Ron Funches?
Uh-huh.
Like, he's like, nah, man, Ron's going to stab me.
Oh, boy.
That's awesome. I would have guys that would come in and I always try to build a show. I never try to do bit. I always like to build. I want it to go somewhere. I want to establish, here's where we're going, here's where we're going to end, and like say something and then prove it by the end of the show, drive people through something. And man,
You provide a theory, and then you try to prove your theory.
and then I prove my theory or
Yeah.
disprove it, or do both on the way through. And these cats, man, would come in and just be the worst, hackiest dick joke airplane. And anybody starts talking about airplanes, and I'm like, I start to get like, why are you doing this? This is, people don't understand. I think people have this thing about comedy because everybody can tell a joke if they have a joke that's given to them. They don't understand that the craft of it, the real art of it, and I don't want to get deep into it. Nothing makes comedy more funny than this. Is that you're trying to find a human behavior that everybody has experienced but no one's noticed. That's your kind of job, and the only way you can really do that is to talk about your stories and I'm making this up as I go, by the way, and find those moments in your history, and because it's you, and they all go, the laughter is this, oh shit, yes, and you have to put your spin on it. And when you come in and you put a spin on it that's been done since fucking Red Fox has been doing comedy, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Go back to your substitute teaching job.
Yeah, you see it.
You have to care.
You see it more and more even now. Like, it seems to be more accepted now because I think with things like social media that sometimes people aren't going to these shows and being like, oh, that surprised me and I liked it. They're going like, oh, yeah, I heard that on Twitter. I saw that. Oh, I wrote a joke like that on Twitter. And then that's why they laugh, because they go, oh, they agree with me. And I never, ever in my life have wrote to be agreed with.
No.
I don't need that. I don't give a shit if you agree with me.
Yeah, there's a voice again. Change again. I don't give a shit if you agree with me. So I will say this. I feel the same way. When I wrote Pedophile Crucifixions, people were like, dude, that's a rough bit. You shouldn't be doing. I'm like, no, this is what's happening. I'm on the right side of the issue. Fuck if anybody's not doing it. Everything you write should be. I like when I scare myself. I like when I come up with an idea. I wrote something down in my notebook for the next show I'm working on, Madman, and I wrote it down, and I realized it scared me. It scared me to approach it. That's when I know I'm doing my work. And I think it's so easy. By the way, anybody could put together 25 minutes. And honest to God, I believe this. You can just watch enough Netflix specials, and you could go, okay, that's what a lot of comics do at the beginning. That's what you're supposed to talk about. I'm going to just put that, and you could probably work as a middle act. You could be MC. But you're never going to be in the pantheon. You're never going to be with Rock or Pryor or Carlin or Williams. You're never going to. You have to set the bar there. And that was a lecture on comedy that didn't need to happen. Hi, I'm Christopher Titus. This is Ron Funches.
I love it. Please. I
just
that.
care. I care so much about it that when someone doesn't, it fucking... I had a guy... And now we're friends, and he knows the story, and he was working for me, and I told him after the first show, it was so disgusting. I went, dude, you got to do something. You can't. I go, do your A material. If you want to, this guy wanted to go on the road with me, and he's like, if you want to do that, give me your A stuff. Do so. And I don't think I'm a raging genius. I think I've done some good stuff. And the last 5 minutes of his second show Fridays, he humped the stool, and I fired him. I was like, you got to go home. I said, you gotta go, man. And if you don't care about what you do, I don't know, I'm talking whether you're an air conditioning repairman or a musician, you gotta give a shit enough to do it well.
Yeah, like why go up? I mean, that was one of the reasons why I think my comedy is different and why I do come at that positive area is that when I realized the job was a lot of repetition, that of course I'm going to be, working on new material and stuff, but a lot of it was mining and shaving away at things, and that I would have to say the same premises over and over again. I was like, I don't want to go up there and talk about premises I don't care about, right. And I don't want to go up there and talk about premises that I hate. I want to talk about things I love. So I want to talk about my family, talk about video games, talk about wrestling, because those are the things I could talk about for 20 years.
Right.
Because I love them. And
It's a good way to approach it.
yeah. And I think it's been very, like, my career is super cool in the way that, like, more and more people get to know me, and some people don't get it, or some people think I'm they go like, oh, that laugh part of it is an act. Some people are serious about that. They're
No,
like, oh, you're joking,
I
you're an
get that
act, you're
too.
not serious. But what always gets me very happy is people like you, people like Margaret Cho, people like Wanda Sykes, people like Dave Chappelle, people who have seen me just a couple times and been like, oh, bro, like, you're different, and I fuck with you because you're you, and you're different, and you're not trying to. So that's those things that you say, oh yeah, you could be a middle, you can be this and that, and fuck around. But what I love is the amount of love that I get from people who A, I grew up watching, and B, are flat out legends in this game, who then tell me, bro, you're on your path, bro, you're doing what you do. Don't fuck around. Don't listen to these other people. Nope. Keep doing what you're doing because you're doing something different. And whether it's comedy or, like, I mean, one of my favorite rappers of all time is Bun B from UGK, and he did my podcast, and he goes, and I was like, man, why are we friends? Like, you're like a hardcore gangster rapper. You used to sell cocaine and all this stuff, and you fuck with me hard. He did the intro for my first album, and
That's
I was
awesome,
like, why?
man.
I go, why do you like me? And he was like, I like you because you're you.
Yep.
I go, I look at your podcast and you're smiling with the fucking cartoon bunnies and shit around you, and I go, that's Ron. And I go, and me as a black man, I love seeing another black man not being afraid to be themselves and not having to fall into things like, oh, you can't smile, you have to be tough, you have to do this. He's like, that's what worked for me when I was young. He goes, now I'm an old grandfather. I'm at my fucking granddaughter's recital. I'm smiling, I'm laughing, and I love that you're doing that now.
Yep.
And I'm like,
But
man,
but
great
here's the
advice.
thing. I don't even think it's not a black white. It's an authentic thing. And there's so many guys that became. They're just different versions of this one dude who made it big. There's so many different versions of this one guy, and they're all trying to be it. And a lot of them ended up dating really young girls. But the point is, is that they all became a different version of this guy. It's like when music and 10 other bands do the same thing. People, if you're going to do music, comedy, acting, anything, performance arts, just painting, for God's sakes, dig deep and find what makes you happy, because there is no point in doing what other people are doing. Dana Carvey said to me, and you kind of put it a different way, he said, Titus, you got to find a way to say the same thing again for the first time. And that's why you talk about stuff you love, is because you can find the new nuance to it. Whatever. If you're talking about, I call it growing a tumor in my soul. I would do my old act before I switched to Norman Rockwell, and I would just hate that shit would be coming to me. Like, if I would just say it, and it just fucking, and the audience knew I hated it. They didn't know, like, that guy hates his act. They just like, that's not as funny. That guy seems like he's upset.
Yeah,
with
there's
himself.
no spark.
Yes, exactly. So good, man. Well, I can't wait. Saturday night, guys. Go to combustionlive.com for tickets. Go to ChristopherTitus.com for tickets. Go to ronfunches.eventbrite.com for tickets. And we're going to do a live show. 3-camera shoot. It's going to look like a comedy special. Why? He's looking around. We have the studio. We ain't playing. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man.
Can't wait.
And 2 other comics, and give them their names again.
Blair Saki will be here. Gabe Dinger will be here.
Gabe Dinger.
Dinger. Fun name.
That's a good name.
Fun name.
That's
yeah.
a good name.
Yeah, known him since the day I started
his
comedy.
It's a real name, too,
It's
right?
his real name.
That's why you become a comedian.
I'm very excited to see his, because Blair and I have been doing Zoom shows to prepare. Gabe has decided to go another route and refuses to do any Zoom shows to prepare. So I'm making him go first, and then I'm going to see how it goes.
Perfect. Mr. Cocky got to go first. Well, here's the thing. I don't think comedy needs to be screamed into a laptop from your kitchen. So we built this so comics could work. I want people to have, and thank God we got Hylinder, man. He makes sure it works. And dude, we have enough people in here. Everybody's masked. Everybody's got drinks under their masks. It is a blast, man. You saw Fortunes, right?
Yeah.
Chris Frangio's
Made me
coming
give
back
you
with
a call,
Fortunes. Yeah. Ron called me to do the show. That's how good we are. Ron Funches called us.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching Titus Podcast. Thanks for listening to Titus Podcast. Subscribe at the channel as always. I can't believe I'm saying that. God, that's such a hacky thing. Don't subscribe. Just enjoy the podcast.
Subscribe, hit that, smash that like button, hit that follow.
I want to climb under the table right now because I said
Christopher
it.
Titus
By
on
the way, if you
TikTok.
want to
Watch
get
the
the
Titus
t-shirt,
TikTok dance.
Find us on
at
MySpace.
Titus Nation on Twitter. By the way, sorry I get so crazy. So cheesy. I did you. Now you should be mocking the shit out of me.
Coming back.
I don't, you should be making fun of me. No, I didn't mean. Okay, all right, guys. For the Titus Podcast, for myself, the amazing Ron Funches, and the Hylinder. Later.
Bye.
There can be only one.
He said, I'm in trouble, aren't I, later? How come all the editing's weird? Fuck you, Titus. Later, guys.